So for the better part of the past 7 years, I've used an Axe-Fx 2 XL Plus for my guitar amplifier and for all of my guitar effects. But that all changed in 2023 when I bought a Line6 HX Stomp that I was going to use with my band Morgan and the Missed Opportunity and use this exclusively as a one pedal option to go into a tube amplifier. And for a long time, better part of 2023, that's exactly what I did. But the more I played around with it, the more I realized that this little device is pretty powerful. Does it have the tonal qualities that the Fractal has? No. But is it pretty darn close? Yeah. And the thing that I really enjoyed about these things, like when you fire up HX Edit, you get these little avatars of the little amplifiers and of the effects that they're actually emulating. And in my life, like the little things like that really do make a difference for me. Let's first talk about guitar tone because yes, one, it is completely subjective. But two, it's also going to change drastically depending on what you are listening the music through. Like if I was going to listen to this guitar tone that I created on this magnificent device through a pair of like Rocket 5 KRKs, that might sound completely different than if I'm using a pair of like Sony headphones. And that's okay. That's just the nature of things being different. But when I first picked up the Line6 HX Stomp, and I mean like the very first thing I noticed when I picked it up was it sounds really good. Like the amp models and the effects sound really good. Now, if I compared it to a Axe-Fx unit, the same amp modelers, everything all up at noon, did it sound the same? No. No, it did not. But what I found about the Axe-Fx is there's a lot of tweakable parameters there. Almost too many tweakable parameters here. Like what I really like about the Line6 HX Stomp is that when you grab something within this pedal, the only things that you can change and dial in and tweak are the things that it's actually modeled after. So take the Klon Centaur, for example. In the Axe-Fx, yes, you can adjust the volume, the treble, and the gain, but you can also change like 100 other different things. Now take this same pedal, but look at it through the lenses of the HX Stomp, and you can only change the volume, the treble, and the gain. Now there's something to be said for each case scenario here, but as a guitar player, especially if I was just starting out and getting an amp modeler, if I wanted a Klon pedal, give me a Klon pedal. Make it as simple and as original and true to the Klon pedal as possible so I can learn not only what the Klon pedal does and what it's supposed to sound like, but also like if that's the sound that I'm going for, like that's the sound that I want. That just makes sense to me. Maybe I'm overthinking that. I might. So let's talk about guitar community because if we're being honest, I mean, we're a guitar community. You're listening to me talk. I'm talking to you about the Line6 HX Stomp and some Fractal products. But two, the Line6 and Helix is a buzzing on the internet, especially here on YouTube. I mean, really think about it. How many videos have you seen on the Line6 HX Stomp or Helix models? Maybe a few hundred? Maybe even 1,000 if you really like these products? And how many YouTube videos have you watched where the creator is promoting their HX Stomp preset packs in the description box below? Yeah, that's kind of my point. Also, on that note, I have a country preset pack that is ever growing. You'll have lifetime access to whatever gets added to that further down the line. So if you want to support the channel, that link is in the description box below. But my point is the Line6 amp modeling world is buzzing. Now, that's not to say that the Fractal world isn't hot as well, but I remember when I first got my XFX2 XL Plus, there wasn't a whole lot of videos on the internet or YouTube about Fractal audio. I think the first video that I remember is Robert Baker saying that his wife bought him one. And I remember thinking like, wow, like Fractal's finally coming to the internet. And I remember when I first got him, I mean, I would scour the internet trying to find as many Fractal videos because I mean, it's an amazing machine, but it's kind of complicated. Or at least the old ones were kind of complicated. The new ones, not nearly as much, but the old ones, man, they were complicated. You needed to have not just the instruction manual, but you needed to have people like David Walliman and Robert Baker say, this is how you use it. And sure, at the time, there were a few videos on the XFX, but there certainly wasn't the amount of hype that there is around amp modelers today. And even at the time, there wasn't nearly the amount of hype around Fractal as there was around its main competitor, the Kemper. And just because people are talking about one product more so than the other product doesn't mean product B is less or inferior to product A. It just means that the marketing team might be a little bit better than product A. Or maybe product A is a little bit more widely available than product B. Could be a combination of both. But having someone on the internet validate your purchase is something that us guitar players do sometimes. But having quality gear tutorials and tips and tricks videos that sometimes might unlock some things that you never knew you needed, but now you can't live without, kind of like live reamping, is an absolute godsend, especially with complex technology such as the Line6 HX Stomp. And quite honestly, that's what I'm trying to do here with this channel is, pass along my knowledge that I've had over the past year and a half using this pedal and making them into useful videos for you guys to unlock your potential musically as well. That, and of course, adding country music as well because it's a southern thing and I really like it. Now I want to go over something that I kind of rushed past, but I want to make sure that it's well known because it's something that you definitely need to take into consideration. The HX Stomp is subjectively 100 times easier to program and objectively 133% lighter than the XFX3. Let's talk subjective here for a minute because I personally think everybody should kiss. No, not like that, but keep it simple, stupid. Now I'm going to go on a limb here and say that you're probably getting into amp modelers for one of three reasons. Number one, the idea of owning a bunch of different amps so you can dial in whatever tone you ever can think of at any given moment is very appealing to you, but you don't have an unlimited amount of funds to buy every amp ever made in the history of Guitar World. Reason number two is that you live in an apartment or maybe in the city, in a townhouse, maybe you have roommates or family or whatever the reason is. You can't necessarily crank up a 100-watt Marshall amplifier and get those creamy, delicious stadium-sized tones at bedroom volume levels. But an amp modeler can. Or number three, you like the idea of recording at home, but don't know how to properly mic a cabinet. And quite frankly, you don't really want to learn how to do that because you just want to play guitar and not become a studio engineer. Dude, I got you. You're not lazy. We only have so many hours in the day. And that's where amp modelers come in to save you. They save you money because you don't have to buy a second mortgage to afford all the amps that this little device has to offer. You can have those cranked amp tones without, bothering your roommate or your wife. And quite frankly, you don't have to learn how to properly mic an amp cabinet to get sweet, sweet tones in your recordings at home. I mean, what's not to love about them? The HX Stomp just makes things simple. And what's not to love about simple? Now, the XFX does all this stuff too, don't get me wrong. But the HX Stomp does it just so much more efficiently and a lot less stress on the back. But ultimately what the deciding factor was for me is that this is a pretty simple product. It's only one pedal and it's pretty streamlined. Where the Axe-Fx 2 XL Plus the MFC 101, I mean, that's 2 pieces of gear. It's heavier. It's more things to learn how to program. It's more things to worry about if power goes down or God, forbid, something breaks. This is just simpler. And I know the differences between one piece of equipment. We're literally talking 1 and 2 things, but it's the little things that add up over the time. Like I mentioned with the avatars and the amp things. It's the little things that stack up that makes a big difference. Combined, the Axe-Fx 2 XL plus the MFC 101 is like something like 25, 26 pounds, which is really close to the weight of a Fender Blues Junior tube amplifier. I weighed this the other day, 3.3 pounds. And I lift heavy circles and the voices seem to go away temporarily. And it's not necessarily about the weight, but more so the simplicity of the rig, the simplicity of the programming, and the simplicity of having just one thing instead of multiple things. That's why I like the Line6 HX Stomp XL more so than the Fractal rack-mounted units. Yes, the Fractal stuff has more processing power, but the simplicity of only having one device without needing an additional floorboard unit to control the device, plus the fact that this is $1,000, $1,500 cheaper. The tones are close enough, especially in a live mix. I mean, like, I don't know how you would say no to this compared to something else. I mean, like, clout or gas maybe, but like, I'm really trying to pare down what I actually use and what I actually need and getting rid of everything else. And quite frankly, the HX Stomp XL, it checks all the boxes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what amp modeler you're using. I would love to talk about some tone, what kind of rigs that you're playing through down in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe if you had a good time. And if you're more interested in learning more about the HX Stomp, check out this video over there. And hopefully I'll see you over there. And until then, let the music play.